Mr. Unversall, can you please take roll?
Ms. Will?
Yes.
Ms. Howard?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson? Yes. Mrs. Mason?
Yes.
Mrs. Chestnut?
Yes. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda for this evening?
So moved.
Second.
Is everyone's mics on?
Who was second?
Miss Well, and can you turn your mic on?
Let's try that. Is
There,
that better?
oh, there you go. Yes. Please call the roll. Mason was first and Will was second.
Thank you.
Okay.
Ms. Will?
Yes.
Ms. Powers?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Mason?
Yes.
Mrs. Chestnut?
Yes. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from the special board meeting we held this week, October 15th, 2024?
So moved.
Second. Mason.
Call the roll.
Ms. Will?
I abstain, I wasn't there.
Ms. Powers?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Mason?
Yes.
Ms. Chestnut?
Yes. And should I invite Mr. Kaufman forward, or?
Yes,
or start with this?
actually, if I may.
Yes,
So,
please do.
Josh Kaufman, Director of Fine Arts, I'm going to ask you to come to the podium. We're going to celebrate the arts tonight, amongst some other things, but I must let everyone know that the bow tie that I'm wearing, Tracy Huggins is in the audience. Tracy and her art students made this bow tie for me for my birthday, so thank you, Tracy, and the students at Pattison. Back to you.
Pretty cool. The arts in Milford never cease to amaze me. I would love to invite up our student artists from McCormick, but they're so excited, most of them are already here. And we do have Mr. Wilson and Mrs. Kroger from McCormick here who have done a great job of starting the year with just an attitude and a heart towards art, which is great. So we're going to recognize 8 students tonight. Our first student I don't believe was able to make it is Madison Hoskins. She's a 6th grader, and she has the radial coffee filter design that's right here behind me. Oh, she made it! She made it! Come on up! Come on up! Congratulations! There you go. And then you're just going to wait, down where? They're all waiting for me. There you go. There you go. All right. And then we have Marlo Paul, who has the black and white Sharpie insect right above her head. They're all standing in front of their artwork. Congratulations, Marlo. Joanne Neck did the silhouette landscape, which is gorgeous. Beautiful. Penelope Chalk did the colored pencil loop fish. Congratulations, Penelope. Wonderful. We've got Samantha Chumley, who did a fall landscape with pumpkins. Very seasonal. Congratulations, young thing. Willa Glassmeyer did the 3D colored pencils with shape. Congratulations, ma'am. My buddy Owen Galt, who did I'm going to try this, Pied Mondrian. Did I get that right? Last but not least, we have kindergartner Theo Waite, who did the paper collage pumpkin at the end. Congratulations, bud. Great job. And I'm sure you know by now I'm never going to pass up an opportunity to celebrate the arts here in Milford. So a few things that have either happened recently or are pending. Over the last 2 weeks, we had our junior high and high school choirs were able to visit several area senior centers and perform, including the Laurels, Pine Brook, Tartan Glen. I want to thank our community partners that made that happen. The students' curricular performance for the first quarter was to occur at the Art Affair, which got canceled. So Mrs. Schott scrambled and worked with some of those communities. It was a wonderful, wonderful thing to see our students out performing in the community. And they will be also performing at the National A Cappella Festival in Kettering on November 9th. So lots going well with choir. drama. If you've not gotten your tickets yet for Little Shop of Horrors in a little over 2-3 weeks, we're over 50% sold at this point. So if you plan to come, make sure you get your tickets for that. And then keep Hadestown on your calendar for December 13th and 14th. And then we are heavy in marching band season. So I want to highlight our marching band a couple weeks ago was at the Lebanon competition, and they took literally every award. There wasn't a single award that they didn't win, which was fantastic. They'll be at West Claremont on November 2nd, and then they will be heading to Grand Nationals November 15th and 16th. And the last thing I want to mention in conjunction with that is tonight I'm going to be asking for your excusal from the part of the rest of the meeting. I'm heading downtown to watch our drumline perform in the Blink Parade, which is really incredible. If you can't make it down there because you're here tonight, it's going to be on Channel 9 tomorrow night. I think it's 7 o'clock. It's a salute to Jimmy Buffett. I saw the set last night. It is a multi-sensory experience with sound and lights, and then there's fog coming out of the volcano that smells like tropical punch. The whole thing is just amazing. But when it comes to Grand Nationals and when it comes to Blink, I want to give a special shout out to our band boosters. Those experiences are made possible because of our band boosters. So when our students go to Grand Nationals, when our students go to Blink, the dollars that fund those experiences come from our band boosters. I think that's really important for people to know how powerful our band boosters are in supporting our kids in our program. So thank you always for your love of the arts and keeping it at the heart of our district.
Awesome. Thank you, Jeff.
Mr. Tom Wilson, McCormick Happenings.
President Chestnut, members of the board, and Superintendent Spicer, or as a second grader told him yesterday, my twin. I didn't have the heart to tell him, though, he was a first-year teacher when I was a senior in high school here at Milford, but I did not say that. So on behalf of these wonderful folks on the screen and myself, thank you for having us tonight and honoring our artists and letting us talk a little bit about what's going on at McCormick. Like everyone else, everyone has a theme. We love Taylor Swift. We're in our McCormick era. What you have there is our PBIS whole school system. When students do something right, they follow regular expectations, which are be respectful, be responsible, and be safe. They can earn a shape, for lack of a better term. We take those shapes, we've turned them into bracelets. At the end of each quarter, we draw some names from that board, and they get certain rewards. So that's our PBIS whole school system. I'm also happy to announce that we were awarded notified as a gold winner for our PBIS from the state of Ohio. So it's 2 years in a row for us. So we're excited for that, for the systems we have in place. Academically, this is the first year we've done some flexible grouping with our students in grades K through 2. This is based on some screeners we do early in the year. One of our areas that we want to grow on our report card is early literacy. So with that, we have kindergartners, first graders, and second graders switching rooms each and every day for our phonics program. They do about 30 minutes of phonics. From there, based on some of our screeners, we're able to hone in on certain skills. So just like a high school class per se, they're going from different teacher to different teacher, and then about every 6 weeks, or what we call 3 progress monitors, we review and then we move students where they might need to go. Our goal is the growth, to get everyone, we call it in the red, to the green and blue, which is at or above grade level. So that's a little bit about flexible grouping at McCormick. And then, to me, the biggest part of McCormick is our community. I see a lot of faces out here that are McCormick, have been at McCormick, either as teachers, students. Even Mr. Korsen, our officer back here, is a McCormick alum. So, but McCormick Fest is always our biggest fundraiser of the year. We just had it about 2 weeks ago. Usually it's in Miami Meadows, but rain forced us to make different plans. We actually held it at McCormick this year. Bounce houses, face painting. Highlight was balloon artists. These 2 balloon artists were amazing. And then, of course, food, and then family, and, of course, just having the community feel. It's our biggest fundraiser of the year, and again, from our PTO, and leads to a lot of things that we're able to bring to our students, which, again, led to some new playground equipment. I guess it'd be 7th graders now came to me in 4th grade and said, we want to slide on the primary playground, or an intermediate playground. I was like, 5th and 6th graders on a slide? About 2 weeks into school, that finally got put in, and I will tell you, every day there are sixth graders just sliding down that thing, and you would just like they were in first grade. So to see the excitement, but it all happens because of our wonderful PTO, and again, our student fundraising, which comes through McCormick Fest. We also do Jim Basketball Jones. He is a motivational speaker, does all types of basketball tricks. We use him as kind of a PBIS refresh at the beginning. When we start the second half of the year. And then the Cincinnati Museum is an academic enrichment that comes in for each grade level. So about every other Friday or Monday of the month, they come in and work with a certain grade level on a certain topic that we're able to pick. So again, that stuff doesn't happen without support of our wonderful PTO. At McCormick, we also pride to get ourselves in academic enrichments after school. I'm going to highlight probably the top 2 pictures. That's our cooking club. My kitchen manager, Myrna Snell, and Carrie Geis, who's in the audience here, came to me 2 years ago and said, hey, we got this idea. We want to have a cooking club. And I thought, oh boy, I got to talk to Mr. Johnson on this one. This is going to be interesting. So I reached out to Mr. Johnson, Tina Reynolds, who's our director of nutrition, and said, hey, here's what we'd like to do. We ran a couple clubs in the first half of the year. The second half of the year, we filled them up in about less than 20, 30 minutes once they were posted online. So we're back this year. They've changed it up. It's kind of Cooking Club 2.0. Many of these students are returning kids. And their first class this year, they actually made homemade apple butter and mixed berry jam. So that was some pictures of them. The second group up there is our robotics club. They just started. They had their first group yesterday. In these pictures, they're working with Indy cars. With their cars, when they roll over a certain color, it tells them either to go straight, turn left, turn right, do a spin. It's a really early way of learning how to program. So robotics club for right now is for 5th and 6th grade. We'll run for lower grades in the second half of the year. And then, last one was our holiday club. It's for our youngest kids. They meet in December. They do crafts. And they'd go over and sing carols over at Magnolia Springs, which is one of our partners. And then, like any school, I think it's important to give back to our community. For those that give to us, I think to instill in our students at an early age of giving back. So obviously Circle Tail, I saw a dog tonight, somewhere running around here early. We have Tough. Tough turned 3 about 2 weeks ago, so we always celebrate Tough. And when we do, we always give back. So he has his own Amazon wish list. So during our Spirit Week, we did ask for donations. We also always give back to Circle Tail. Magnolia Springs, again, as I said, we do a lot with them, whether it's through some of our academic curriculum during the day and going over and visiting, or our after-school enrichments. Actually, in this picture here, this was last year, that is Mr. Saipo. He's our neighbor, and he still comes over and sees me. And he was my principal when I was at Saipo, Pleasant Hill. And finally, Milford Miami Ministries, we had a great relationship with them. Halloween's around the corner. We always ask kids to bring in donations of a canned good if they dress up, and then we deliver those to them. We also do a mitten tree in December, and again, all of our proceeds go to them. So again, that holistic view of what a student should be, from the academic side to the behavioral side to, again, giving back to the community. And then finally, some stuff coming up at McCormick. We have our art show. That will be this next week. It corresponds with our conferences. And then, of course, one of my highlights of my year is Veterans Day program. And if you've not had a chance to go to an elementary Veterans Day program and you see the kids, we do a whole school, so our kids are just singing. They know all the songs. Our 6th graders lead it. And you see these veterans, and you see them tear up, and the emotions, and having their grandkids there or their children. There's no words for it. So I hope you can get to one of those when you're out and about. But that's what's going on, McCormick. Thank you for having us tonight. I'm very lucky to be there. Like I said earlier, I was at the high school for 18 years and took a leap of faith to the elementary, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. So thank you for the opportunity. Have a great evening.
All right, next up, Mr. Mark Trout. And Misty Getz, principal.
All right, good evening. How are you all doing? Thank you, Mr. Spicer, President Chestnut, and the board for allowing us to come here tonight. We have the pleasure and the opportunity to recognize some outstanding athletes and teams at the junior high. We've had a great fall season. It's been a fantastic fall sports season. Just a couple quick shout outs. Our 8th grade football team just on Tuesday won their last league game to go 6-2 and share at least a league title. There are a couple more league games that need to be played, so we're not sure yet, but they'll have at least a co-championship for the 8th grade football team. And then our 2 Milford volleyball white teams, they both ended up second in their respective tournaments, along with a number of other fantastic opportunities and accomplishments that our athletes had this past fall, which was great. We know how vital athletics and activities are to the life of our student. I've heard you all say that many times up here, and we know that Portrait of an Eagle is not complete without the opportunity for them to participate in athletics and activities. So tonight we want to recognize some outstanding greatness that was achieved with our Milford 8th grade red volleyball team. So I'd like to invite them to come on up and stand. They can bring their sign up. You can bring the sign up. Hold that sign up. There you go. Now, you rarely, well, I shouldn't say rarely, but we have the opportunity to recognize history at different points in time, and this is one of those times. I want to thank real quick Mrs. Getz, our proud principal, for being here as well to help me hand out certificates to the team. And I know some of our team was out of town with students not being in school tomorrow, but I'm so glad that most of them were able to make it. This is your 8th grade red girls volleyball team. They were 21-0. They had a perfect overall record in the regular season, which meant they were ECC regular season champs and also the tournament champs. In our junior high matches, we play the best of 3 sets in volleyball. And in all, I believe this is correct, in all but 4 matches, they won 2-0, which means only 4 of 21 matches did the other team even win a single set, which is really, really hard to do. They are the first undefeated volleyball team at Milford Junior High for the regular season and the tournament. As far as our records can tell, we've not had anyone else go 21-0 all the way through the regular season and the tournament. They are also the first undefeated volleyball team in all of the schools in the ECC. So no other school in the ECC, we play 18 games, there's 10 teams, so you have 8, they were 18-0 in the regular season, and as far as we can tell, we contacted the sports information director. We don't think that there's been any other school that has ever gone 18-0 in the ECC in volleyball. They are fun to watch, they work hard, and they are a super group of student athletes that really contribute to our overall positive atmosphere at junior high, at Milford Junior High. So let's give them a big round of applause. So what we'd like to do now is meet the team. I'll ask them to come up. Mrs. Getz will give them a certificate. And then if you don't mind, is Lydia, oh, Lydia's not here. Is Lydia here? Oh, you want to hold up her giant head or something? She usually starts things off because of the alphabet and knows what to do, and then everyone follows her. So our first student athlete on the team is Lydia Burby, but she's not here. Yeah, bring her head up here. Come on. If anybody's, oh, there's Piper too. Yeah, bring those. Let's bring those up. All right, so that's Lydia Burby right there. There we go. So we're going to count on our, there we go. Mom to the rescue. So we're going to count on our second student athlete, Maddie Boer, to lead the way. Maddie, come on and give everybody a fist bump and a handshake. Next up, Kalia Brown. Good job, Kalia. Morgan Lean. Oh, look at that. There she is.
Yeah.
All right, but we need you back over here. Next is Maddie Long. Good job, Maddie. I know she's not here, but we have a big head, Piper McCormick. All right, there she is. Morgan Mell. Lexi Nill. Lacey Patch. Emmy Stevens. And even though they aren't here tonight, we want to make sure to recognize our two managers, Ayat Garib and Brianna Hunter. And also our 8th grade Red girls volleyball coach, who is a junior high teacher, Jacqueline Carey. So thank you once again for allowing us to be here. Thank you for your support. Congratulations to those girls. We're looking forward to all the great things you had ahead of you at the high school. Keep working hard, keep making memories. Thank you for being such an important part of our junior high athletic student body. So thank you very much. We're going to go out and take some pictures. So don't leave. We're going to go out in the hall and take some pictures. Thank you.
There's one on the floor.
Yes, so the volleyball players can follow Mr. Trout and Ms. Getz out for a photo.
There's his phone under,
Uh-oh.
2 phones being
You can
left
take your
behind.
phones too, or you can come back and watch the meeting. You're welcome to stay. Alan, did we just get 10?
9.
Awesome.
Okay. Congrats to all the athletes. That was great. We are on to our first public participation. So, and we have not figured out how to use the buzzer, so Mr. Unversaw is just going to keep the 3 minutes on his phone. So we won't have it up for you guys, so he'll just be keeping it.
All right, first up is Dan Lutz. 3 minutes. We couldn't figure it out. Even our tech guy couldn't figure it out.
Perfect, thank you. Is this okay? Can everybody hear me? Okay, good evening, members of the board, Superintendent Spicer, everyone here watching, and everyone at home. My name is Dan Lutz, and I'm currently a kindergarten teacher at Meadowview Elementary. I'm a Milford graduate from the class of 2018, and I feel lucky to have the perspectives of a student who benefited from neighborhood schools, someone who graduated from Milford recently, and a current educator here at Milford Exempted Village School District. Tonight, I'd like to share my experiences to show my support for the upcoming earned income tax. I grew up going to Boyd E. Smith Elementary School, where from kindergarten through 6th grade, I was able to learn, and build relationships with the teachers and students in my building. It was great for me to grow up with my fellow students who I could see in my neighborhood, as well as see the students from all different ages throughout my day. I still remember our 5th grade reading buddies that could come to read to us in 1st and 2nd grade, and know that when I got older, that could be me doing the same for the younger students. Being in a building with all ages was very rewarding for me, and I would argue that it did and still does make for a stronger, more successful school community. It gives older students the opportunity to be role models and younger students friends to look up to. I also was heavily impacted by the K-6 teachers at Boyd, who, because of our neighborhood school setup, I could see every day as I progressed through the school year. I still have a relationship with my 1st grade teacher, who was a large influence in my decision to become a teacher myself. He would always say hi to me in the halls, strike up a conversation, and on many occasions was there to support me when I needed it the most. If we were in a grade band setup, I would not have been able to see my former teachers. I would have moved buildings after 2 years, and those relationships would be cut short. As a student, being around other students of different ages and grade levels, and all the familiar faces of the faculty and teachers I knew, was crucial to my success here in Milford. Students today should have that same sense of continuity and comfort that I had during my time as an elementary student. As a teacher, I now am on the other side of the desk, both literally and figuratively. I still see every day how wonderful it is to have kindergarten through 6th graders in Meadowview's halls. I have 6th graders who I know as our reading buddies that came to help out my kindergartners from last year. I know 4th and 5th graders who are siblings to current or former students that I've had. And I have my very first class of kindergartners who are now second graders, and their teachers are here tonight. If we move to a grade band school district, the relationship I have with my students now becomes a 2-year contract, limiting the depth and impact they can have on us teachers and we can have on them. Meadowview, as are the rest of our elementary buildings, are stronger as neighborhood schools. For these reasons and many others, I encourage you to vote yes on the upcoming earned income tax. Our students deserve the same high-quality standard education that I had, and many others my age were able to receive, and voting yes is the best choice to keep that. Thank you.
Who do we have next?
Candace Spinelli.
Okay. All right. All right. Good evening, Board, Mr. Spicer. My name is Candace Spinelli, and I am a 5th grade ELA teacher as well as lead teacher at Pattison Elementary. I have taught in Milford for over 20 years, and like many of you that have been here that long, I know there have been times of happiness and times of trials. Unfortunately, this is one of those times of trials. We are a divided district, and we are divided over money. So since finance is not my strong point, you can ask my husband, I want to discuss something I think we can all actually agree on, and that's the children in the Milford School District. Pattison is one of 6 neighborhood schools. Building these neighborhood schools was a choice made by voters in 2001. I looked up data and read many articles on the positives of neighborhood schools, and as an ELA teacher, I feel I probably should have made this a little bit more fact-based. That's what I teach my kids anyway. However, I want this to come from my heart. I want you to know, and I want the voters to know, what I see and feel daily as a teacher at Pattison. When the bell rings and the students pile out of their buses, I see children of all different ages walking and talking together. I see a 2nd grader walking his little sister to her kindergarten door. I see a 5th grader walking into breakfast with her brother and hear them having a conversation about last night's activities. I see kids, lots of kids, that are either previous students of mine or students that are not even mine yet, but younger siblings of my students that come to say good morning or to give me hugs, knowing they will see me in the future. I see my 5th graders coming down the hallway hugging and saying hello to every teacher they had before. On any given day when I am doing cafeteria duty, I watch 1st grade students come over to my 5th graders and hug their siblings or neighbors or both. The love that is felt in an assembly when students of all different age groups are together, waving, smiling, giggling, it's infectious. As a 5th grade teacher, I have one of the older groups, and next year, hopefully, the oldest group in the school. I see how the little kids look up to the older kids and how the 5th graders rise to that occasion when they go into their rooms to read, or collect their recycling, or when they get together with their Pattison pals. When the older students are being true leaders on our Pattison path, the younger kids have them to look up to. Also, neighborhood schools mean smaller class sizes. Smaller class sizes equals more individual attention to students' needs. Each building in this district has a unique family culture, and I feel that the positives that come from those cultures are worth their weight in gold. I implore the voters to think about the young children in this district being separated from their siblings, friends from their neighborhood, teachers and staff around which they have felt comfortable and safe for years. Thank you for your time.
Deanne O'Toole.
My name is Deanne O'Toole, and I'm speaking for Amanda Young. We both teach at Pattison. She says, I have taught kindergarten, 2nd, and 3rd grade, and I am currently a reading skills teacher at Pattison. I provide targeted reading intervention to many of our most struggling readers. I want to discuss the negative impact that the district's proposed cuts could have on the quality of Milford's academics. Part of the sister schools plan includes drastically reducing our skills title teacher positions from 10 to 3. This means most students who fall below reading benchmarks and are not on IEPs will no longer receive small group interventions outside the classroom. For reference, this is about 15% of our K-3 student population. Our reading interventionists are trained to analyze data to inform instruction and target students' skill deficits. Providing skills interventions outside the classroom allows us to utilize small groups with minimal distractions for our struggling readers. With new laws, students placed on reading improvement monitoring plans must receive a certain amount of minutes of intervention weekly in addition to any IEP minutes. Skills teachers can oftentimes provide the support to meet these requirements, as there simply is not enough time in a classroom teacher's day. Classroom teachers could now be solely responsible for providing this extra layer of targeted intervention to struggling readers, in addition to the many responsibilities they already have, like providing differentiated core instruction with modifications and extensions for diverse learners. And with the potential increased student-teacher ratios, teachers will have extremely full classrooms with very little support. As a result, some of our typical students may begin to fall below benchmark expectations. This ripple effect could be seen across the whole district, as students each year might lack appropriate supports to bring them to benchmark or to keep them there. We are potentially losing academic support from skills teachers, behavioral support from reset aides, and administrative support from TOAs. Our teachers will try to rise to the challenge and do all that they can for their students, but ultimately, these young students we serve are the ones who will suffer most from cutting these vital resources. As we all navigate the financial challenges in this economy, it's clear that families are making tough choices about allocating hard-earned money, my own family included. The burden of taxes can feel heavy, especially when every dollar counts. Unfortunately, the public school funding formula places a large financial burden on our community taxpayers. Due to this, I urge you to consider the importance of our public schools as you're prioritizing how your family's money can be spent. Just as everything else has gotten more expensive, so has the cost of sustaining our great public schools. Our public schools are the backbone of our community and an investment in future generations. Please keep our schools and community great by making the quality of Milford's academics one of your priorities. Thank you.
Who we have as number 4?
Tracy Huggins.
Good evening. My name is Tracy Huggins, and this is my 17th year teaching art at Pattison. My husband teaches 4th grade in the district, and our 3 young children attend yet another Milford grade school. On behalf of my entire family, I felt compelled to speak tonight. As an art teacher, I have the privilege of teaching kindergarten through 6th grade, and I have seen firsthand the tremendous benefits of neighborhood schools. One of the greatest advantages is the continuity they provide. Right now in Milford, students stay in the same school for 7 years, allowing them to build strong relationships with teachers, staff, and peers. If moved to grade band schools, these meaningful relationships are disrupted. A study published in the Journal of Educational Research shows that students who stay in the same school longer achieve higher academic levels and experience better emotional well-being compared to those who frequently change schools. If this levy fails, we will lose leadership and mentoring opportunities. Resources will be strained, mental health support weakened, class sizes will grow, and teachers will burn out. The arts, like many other subjects, could face cuts, and that's unfortunate because the arts are vital. They engage different parts of the brain, fostering creativity, problem solving, and emotional development. Studies prove that participation in art programs improve math and reading scores. As a parent, I see the benefits of neighborhood schools. My children delight in the fact that their former and current teachers understand their learning styles, strengths, and areas for improvement. This effective collaboration and tailored instruction helps track long-term progress and enables early intervention if my kids struggle socially, emotionally, or academically. That's invaluable. Finally, as a taxpayer and resident, I see a clear connection between school funding and property values. The National Bureau of Economic Research found that property values rise where schools are well funded. If the levy fails, we will see stagnation and decline, not to mention the logistical nightmare of reworking transportation. When I moved here from Marietta, I knew no one. But I quickly discovered Milford's deep sense of pride. I loved it. I felt it. pride in our schools, our community, and in the future we're building together. This pride is more than tradition. It's the driving force behind our strength. This upcoming vote is a pivotal moment for us. Supporting the school levy is a direct way to ensure that pride continues and that families like mine feel inspired to plant roots here. By voting yes, we are making a strategic economic decision, but more importantly, we are making a statement that we believe in giving our kids the best opportunities and keeping our community thriving for years to come. Thank you.
Jennifer Stitt.
Hello, Board of Ed, community members. My name is Jennifer Stitt, and I teach 6th grade ELA at Meadowview Elementary, and I am a parent of a current Milford High School senior. We hope that our community will come together this November 5th to vote in favor of passing this levy, as the list of potential cuts will be devastating to our students. By voting yes, we will invest in our students and our community. As a teacher, I see firsthand the significant impact a quality education has on our children's futures. Our school's extra services ensure that all students have a level playing field. Any cuts or changes to our current structure resulting in limiting these services put our already most vulnerable students even more at risk. Cuts resulting in increased class size will also have a detrimental effect on students' learning. I know the direct effect class sizes have on students and how smaller class sizes enable me to be more effective. Busing is another area that needs to stay in place to help students get the best education possible. Poor attendance can negatively affect students' ability to succeed academically. They cannot be expected to learn the curriculum if they are not there, and busing is a large piece of the attendance puzzle. All of the elements I have highlighted here matter. They significantly shape our children's education and in turn their futures. As a parent of a recent Milford High School graduate and a current senior, I have experienced how well our school prepares students for their future, including college readiness. My children have been fortunate to participate in affordable sports and extracurricular activities, and they've taken advantage of a variety of advanced placement courses that have allowed my son and will allow my daughter to enter college as sophomores, saving a year of post-secondary education for our family. Passing this levy is not only important, it's essential. If we want to continue providing these opportunities, we must act now. Once cuts are made, they are not only difficult, but often impossible to reverse. Let's not wait until it's too late to ensure our students have the resources they need to succeed. I am deeply grateful for the opportunity to teach at a school that is so strongly supported by its community. Milford parents have always been invested in their children's education and have consistently shown their support. Your vote in favor of the levy will help shape the future of our schools and our community. Let's come together once again to ensure our children have the best chance to succeed and open as many doors for their future as possible. Our students deserve every opportunity to thrive in a supportive and well-funded learning environment. Thank you.
Carrie Bourne.
Good evening. I'm actually going to be reading for one of my colleagues, Samantha Hagan. President Chestnut, esteemed members of the board, Milford community, and of course, Mr. Spicer. My name is Samantha Hagan. This evening, I am holding parent-teacher conferences, so my colleague Carrie Bourne is sharing this letter on my behalf. As an educator in our district and a parent of 2 children who attend our local schools, the issue of school funding is deeply personal to me. Our schools are the heart of our Milford community, but our district is in urgent need due to limited funding. As a Milford resident, I understand that we are all facing hard economic times, and many families in our community are feeling the strain. However, I truly believe that investing in our schools is an investment in our collective future. I strongly feel that the 1% earned income tax is the best compromise and most sustainable solution for the future success of our district. I am particularly proud of the fact that the EIT does not impact our retired community members. For me, supporting the EIT is an investment for my children, my students, and the greater Milford community. As a Milford teacher, I know firsthand the negative impact this will take on our staff and students if we do not support the EIT. Larger class sizes, state minimum busing, reducing course offerings, and eliminating unified arts will only hinder our students. As a parent, I want the best possible education for my children. Another critical area at risk is our all-day kindergarten program. Since I live and teach in the district, I would be forced to find alternative school options for my youngest child if all-day kindergarten is eliminated. Likewise, my children would not be able to attend the same school during their elementary years since they are 2 years apart in age. I urge you to consider the long-term benefits of the earned income tax, not just for our schools, but for our community as a whole. Investing in education is investing in our future. Thank you for your time and thoughtful consideration.
Rochelle Rapp.
Good evening. I was undecided whether I should come tonight or not. I really wanted to go to Blink to see the drum line, but I thought I needed to be here. I'm super excited to see everybody that's here tonight. I did not plan a speech, and I was thinking of all the things that I could say as someone who's lived in Milford all their life. And Dan Lutz stole it from me. About the only thing that I have, you did a great job, Dan. About the only thing that I have to give, except for what Dan already said, is that my children have all gone through Milford too. So you've got a few more years for that. I have participated in probably, in my 30 years teaching here at Milford, probably 11 or more different campaigns that I've volunteered in. And I have seen what it does to the community. I've seen what it does to the teachers when we struggle through these difficult times. In fact, I had my first car accident when one of our levies didn't pass. It did fail. And I was so distraught that I accidentally rear-ended another member of our community. Sorry about that. But so as I was listening to everybody and what they've said and just the fact that I was going to echo all that, I thought, well, what can I say real quick that would be different than what everybody else is saying? And I guess I teach at the junior high, which is a building where students only stay for 2 years. And my passion is the neighborhood schools. I love the neighborhood schools. That is what I wanted for my children. I used to walk to Milford South like several other people in the room walking to their elementary schools. And I would just ask people to think about the experience that they have at their elementary schools that are K through 6, with the community that they have, and then their experience at the junior high when they're only there for 2 years. I think the junior high staff, the administration, everybody in the building does a great job to try to welcome everybody, but you know it's not the same experience. And I don't want that for our children of the future. I think we need to work hard, make the sacrifices, and keep our neighborhood schools. Please vote yes. Thank you.
Kelly Bartholomew.
Hello, my name is Kelly Bartholomew. I am an art teacher at Milford High School. I also moderate an after-school club in collaboration with middle school art teacher Maddie Whitty, titled Pots and Plants, where we make ceramic planters and learn how to keep plants alive. Tonight, I am speaking in support of the arts in response to the proposed cut of 2 high school art teachers. The arts have a vital role in offering our students a well-rounded education. Each project introduces students to critical thinking and creative problem-solving strategies. This extends to support other subject matters and real-world applications. Milford students learn resilience, comfort with mistakes, and how problems can have more than one solution. Our art classes promote emotional expression and provide support for our students' mental well-being. In a world that can be overwhelming, creating art provides an essential outlet, helping students navigate their emotions. Milford art classrooms foster a culture of community and collaboration in supporting social skills. Not only do students learn alongside their peers, they learn from them. They develop awareness and appreciation of other cultures and communities. Milford students establish understanding and respect for different backgrounds, which is increasingly important in our interconnected world. Art classes are for all Milford learners to succeed. Students who may not excel in other subject matters have an opportunity to be seen and their voices to be elevated. Visual art provides an inclusive environment, transcending communication barriers. Most importantly, art fills our students with a sense of purpose and a sense of belonging. Thank you for your time.
Jesse Mert.
Good evening, board, Mr. Spicer. My name is Jessie Merkt. I teach first grade at Meadowview Elementary, and I'm speaking on behalf of my team and in support of the Earned Income Tax Levy. As first grade teachers, we see many of our past students every morning as they arrive at school. Some students just want to start their day with a hug from the teachers they know and love. Some students want to tell us what is going on in their lives. Other students need encouragement to start their day. We also have students that may come down to read to younger students who are struggling with reading or to ease the morning anxiety for one or both of them. Many students have challenges in their lives, and school is a stable environment where they have many positive relationships with various adults. With sister schools, once they establish these relationships, it would be time to move on to the next school. As first grade teachers, we can't imagine teaching students for a year and then potentially not seeing them again. As adults, these relationships may seem insignificant, but for young children, they mean everything. They are essential. It takes a village to raise children, and we are an important part of that village. With sufficient funding, we can continue having smaller class sizes, which help students get more individualized attention. This is so important when teaching young students foundational skills. With increased class sizes, behavior becomes more of an issue, and time can easily be taken from instruction to manage these behaviors. There are many leadership opportunities for students in neighborhood schools. My daughter is in second grade, and she just told me the other day that she can't wait to be a reading buddy in a couple of years. Both older and younger students look forward to these mentor relationships. The older students also get to help make decisions and help out around the school. This is an opportunity for them to model good behavior and citizenship for younger students. When my husband and I were looking to buy a house, we were looking at Loveland and Milford. We ultimately chose Milford because of the neighborhood schools. This is a big draw for Milford. As a parent in this district, I don't even want to think about how hard it's going to be when myself and my two daughters are at all different schools and on different schedules, but more importantly, I want them to be together at the same school. They were so excited to finally be at the same school this year. They may drive each other crazy at home, but when they are at school, that all goes out the window. Parker could not wait to show Evie around Site-Pelt this year as Evie started kindergarten, and Evie was an eager listener for once. Siblings look out for each other and support each other when they are at school. If we go to sister schools, this would be the only time my children are at the same school until middle and high school. I know they will be crushed when they find out. As a product of a neighborhood school, I want the same for my own children. Neighborhood schools do so much for our children, and we pray that they are here to stay. Please vote yes. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that wraps up all.
That was it.
Thank you to everyone who spoke today. Choked up. Mr. Spicer, on to your board report.
Thank you, President Chestnut, members of the board. I do have a presentation for you this evening and for everyone that's here. Before we dive into this presentation a little bit, I just want to reiterate something that I spoke about last month, and that the Milford Exempted Village School District it's a community. It's not just a school or a bunch of schools. And I think that This evening, we heard everything that we need to know about what our teachers and our staff do. They're the heart that pumps the blood in every school. So thank you for those of you that spoke this evening and for those that are here supporting your colleagues. So with that, let's dive in a little bit to this earned income tax. And just a reminder of all the ongoing fiscal management that the district has had the past couple years, but most recently a 15% reduction in our general fund budgets, totaling $675,000. Also, the elimination of the Director of Elementary Curriculum and also the Assistant Superintendent of Technology position was eliminated. We did backfill one elementary principal resignation, and then we did combine the TOA of Technology into a director, which resulted in about $102,000 in savings. And so what we have here is just a reminder of what, this is an actual tax duplicate of a home here in Milford, just down the street. And you can see in yellow that in May of 2013 was the last time the district asked the community for operating funds. So that was an operational levy. That was a 4.5 mil levy. And then you can also see the other three reds, the Four-Pack Elementary School, which is bond number 1, voted in 2001. And then also bond number 2, voted in 2008. That's a 1.5 mil levy. And then bond number 3, which is the middle school in 2021. The numbers down here I think that are important for us to look at is 79.75, and that's the total number of mills that the district has passed for the school district. This 30.38 represents the actual millage that the district is able to collect. And you say, well, if we voted in 79.75 mills, why are we only collecting 30.38 mills? And that is because of House Bill 920. House Bill 920 passed in 1976 says that school districts cannot realize any of the gains as property values increase. This presentation, by the way, will be available on our website. I'm going to go back. Just a reminder that every school district in Ohio that runs on levies typically runs them every 3 to 5 years. So it's a 3 to 5 year levy cycle. It's a continual cycle. And so we'll talk a little bit here about why the 1% is best. So we filed this 5-year forecast back in May. And with this 5-year forecast, with the $1.7 million in reductions to date, this is where you can see where the district is in trouble. So the red represents fiscal emergency. That's fiscal year 27. And even with the 1.7 million in reductions, we still end up here in fiscal emergency. And so the next slide shows what a 1% earned income tax would do for the district. The black line is all the way at the top. For the foreseeable future, the district would not need another operating levy from the community. Now we can never say never, because we don't know that everyone's income will increase, but the likelihood that it's not is not. So for the foreseeable future, we will not need to come back to the community for any more operational funds. So once again, that black line at the top, very important for you to see. And so if the earned income tax were to fail, we did cover these last month, a conservative number of the grade banded schools would be 35, but it could be upwards of 40, so 30 to 40, but at an estimate of 35 would be 2.1 million. If we were to reduce high school offerings, that would be 4 teachers, 2 aides at approximately $310,000. If we were to reduce junior high offerings, 5 teachers, that's $350,000. Sorry. And then the last 3 that we talked about were eliminating art, music, and PE at the elementary school, 18 teachers at $1.3 million. Remaining positions that were on the January 2024 list, that would be 21 staff members at $1.2 million. And then finally, transportation at state minimum busing that would impact high school students and parochial high school students with a 2-mile walk radius for elementary schools. That would be up to $1 million. Before I started, I should have said that every decision up on this projector is financial. These are financial decisions. These are not decisions that are good. These are not good for teachers. They're not good for parents. They're not good for students. And so I think we just need to keep that in mind as we take a look at these options moving forward. Should the earned income tax fail, the recommendations for the 25-6 school year would be to go to the grade banded schools, go to our state minimum in transportation, and then increase our pay to play. And I'm going to talk a little bit further about pay to play. Last month, the board asked us to come back to look at what it would look like for a tiered option. And so we have that. But I think the most important thing on this slide is at the bottom. Even if you cut all of these items, we still need a levy or an earned income tax to run our schools. And there's another slide that I'm going to show you as well. But in order to do pay to play and to look at a tiered approach, I know those numbers are small, and I'm going to have to pull it up on my own laptop because I can't see that far. You can see that there's a tiered approach at looking at what it would cost to run those programs. And as an example, the first one, band, on the low end, it could be $437 and some change. On the high end, it could be as high as $775. But that, Josh Kaufman, if I'm correct, does not include the $500 fee that the band boosters collects. Is that correct? Yes, that is accurate. Thank you, sir. So on the high end, $1,200 just to be in marching band. Winter drumline, $450. Low end, high end, $840. Girls volleyball on the high end is $980. Boys soccer, $1050. Football, $1211. And then if you look at the far right, the junior high costs are a little bit lower, but still very high. And I think the important thing is there's no cap, there's no scholarships, if you will, from the district. Everyone that participates, everyone pays this amount. I also showed a slide last month about our neighbor Little Miami schools where they had a 40% reduction in the number of students that came out for athletics as well, and they also lost 1,000 students in enrollment. And so I think I have a slide on that as well. So Mr. Kaufman is here. I believe Mr. Trout is still here. So if there are any questions about pay to play, I know they'd be happy to answer. And if you don't have any questions, I think Josh is going to go to Blink. Sure, absolutely, absolutely.
There we go. I know there's been some questions about why is it a range. The range is for two different reasons. One is the supplemental salaries are paid based on the experience of the advisors and coaches. So, a coach or advisor that's in their first year versus their 30th year, that creates a range. And the range is also dependent on the participation. So, as the cost of pay to play goes up, or as the amount of pay to play goes up, the cost to run the program don't change. So, if fewer students come out for those programs, those pay to play numbers skyrocket. They really escalate. So, if I can speak specifically, we're in marching band season. If marching band goes up to $500 or $600, I know enough families that would be significantly impacted by that we're probably looking at a 20-25% reduction in our participation. So then that's where that higher end number kind of kicks in.
For the arts, I have some questions. I know that for sports, we have boosters, we have ticket sales that pay for some of the things like the fields and uniforms and things like that. Do we have anything like that in the fine arts?
Yeah, so drama is our only fine arts program that has any gate revenue, kind of the equivalent as a football game or things like that. So they do generate some gate revenue, and they use that for some of the infrastructure things, the rights and the performance rights for their productions, as well as if they need a new spotlight or they need some of those things that help the facility run. In terms of our musical programs, oftentimes our choir and band their performances sometimes are a combination of the extracurricular programs and the curricular programs. So we do not charge for our curricular performances because that's part of the student's educational experience. So we're not going to charge a parent to come see their kids, at the wind ensemble concert last night, for example. But also, and not to kind of mix or blend things together, but the marching band performs at halftime of a marching band or of a football game. There's no gate revenue that the band program brings in from that either. So, but our boosters, independently, we have boosters for choir and we have boosters for band, and they do a tremendous job of raising money to offset the costs. Our booster fee of $500 is significant for band. But I heard of a local district up north that their booster fee is over $2,000. Now, they are a band that's in the top 10 in the country, and they do, they spend $250,000 on their show every year. That's not the type of program we run.
What is a booster fee?
This year, the band booster fee was $450, I believe. $450. And we've reduced that over the years. I remember when I started as principal at the high school, it was $800. So we've been able to really pull that down. That covers the students when they go to Grand Nationals. It covers their show t-shirt. Gosh, it covers their meal at every competition they go to. It's great value for that $500, but that puts a strain on a lot of families.
So the parents pay that?
They do. And our band boosters have been fortunate to scholarship. I'm looking at Candace because she's on the booster board, to scholarship students on the booster fee when there's hardship.
So just to clarify, so to join band with the structure, you would have the low end of $437 and high end of $775, and then on top of that, you would have the band booster fee as well?
That's correct.
Okay.
So, and that low end number, that $437.93 number, assumes 100% of the kids that are currently in band continue to be in band, but it also assumes that all of our staff has had 0 years experience, which they're not. So that number really doesn't exist in our current staffing. I don't have it in front of me, but I believe Mr. Spicer was about 5, number had a 5 in front of it for what it would be with our current staffing.
I can look that up if you want to
okay.
keep talking.
It's all right. Sorry, I didn't mean to steal.
Why don't you talk about the blue shirts, uniforms, et cetera, just a little
Oh,
bit.
yes, the blue shirts. I know
Please.
that came up on Facebook. If you were at the football game or if you've seen our band in contest this weekend. So marching band has really become a pageantry art, and it's about the production, right? So very different when I was in marching band. You wore your home uniform, you had one uniform and you wore it to everything. It's become a production. So a few years ago, the band got new uniforms. It was time. They replaced their uniforms about once every 10 to 12 years. So they get a lot of life out of their uniform. Very different than athletics, where I know, there's a lot more wear and tear in athletics, in all fairness, right? Football players put more wear and tear on their uniform. But they get about 10 or 12 years. But the art of marching band has changed in such that it's almost a costume to perform and compete. So this year their show is adrift. They're lost at sea, and their shirt is blue, and it has water wave kind of sublimated into it. And our band boosters paid for that as part of that booster fee. So there was some question about, oh my gosh, the district has changed school colors, and if the district is in the financial shape that they are, why are they buying new uniforms? Those were paid for by our boosters. I want to make that very clear. Those were purchased by our boosters. And they are to stay competitive. That's if you went to see Mason's band or any other Lakota's band or any of the bands that we compete against, that is what is expected to be competitive. And we have, I've said it before, we have a top 40 marching band in the country. We have a top 10 winter guard in the country, and we have a top 25 drumline in the country. Our music programs are exceptional.
And I assume that having a winning band like that leads to college opportunities.
Absolutely, yes. If you recall from back in the spring, we had, I think the final count was about 32 of our seniors at our Fine Arts Signing Day signed to pursue the arts in some capacity. We have 3 freshmen at the College Conservatory of Music currently at CCM, which is one of the prestigious music schools in the country. I think we have 10 total. Yes, the scholarship opportunities are tremendous. Oftentimes our kids can get scholarships just participating in music, not even studying it. If they're in marching band at school, they can get anywhere from, on the low end, it can be about $1,000 up to $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, depending on how talented they are. If you're the tuba that gets the dot the I for Ohio State, your scholarship's a little bit bigger than maybe a clarinet player.
All right, I have your spreadsheet up. What was the question?
What the real number for pay-to-play marching band, if it was applied last year? I think it should be the top right.
509.
509. So that would have been the real if we used last year's numbers, last year's staffing, to zero it out in terms of the general fund, it would have been $509 plus the $500 booster fee.
Yeah, I think it's important to point out, like, this is the types of situations that lead to a lot of inequity in arts and sports and everything else, right? Because, you know, again, you see a lot of the sentiment out there of just have people pay for it, you know, and we learned from the Mount Healthy state audit that John had talked about the other day, that because that's also been called for by some community members, and one of the very first things is to remove sports from the general fund, which is this pay-to-play model, just talking about it in a different way. So this is one of those things where there still will be sports, but it will just be people that have the money to pay for it, or if they can put their kids in select or a, you know, different club type of sport, they'll do it that way. So it really it impacts everybody, but highly impacts the kids that can't afford
It does, and I'd like to underscore that with what I think is, I left the Facebook social world a few years ago, but we share with me, I think one of the posts that has, you know, people talk about the impact that the arts have on our community and the extracurriculars have in our community. One of the most commented on posts over the last 12 months was when our band, due to a transportation issue, was not able to perform and be a part of the Memorial Day Parade.
Mm-hmm.
And the community lost their mind. Rightfully so, we should have been there. But when people talk about these programs not mattering to our community, they do. They do. And every one of those kids goes out every week and every time they perform and make this community better.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, Josh. Once again, this presentation is available online, but also every athletic pay-to-play and extracurricular pay-to-play is on our website. There's a spreadsheet for each junior high, high school, and the fine arts extracurricular activities, so you can find them there. The next slide talks about our grade banded schools. I think you've heard plenty about why it's not a great idea. Again, it's solely a financial decision, but you know what you can see here is what we have determined the grade levels and who the principal would be at those buildings. So that is now for public consumption. I'll leave that up there for just another 10 or 15 seconds. Okay. So this next slide, what we have here again is, this is currently the 5-year forecast that was filed in May, fiscal year 27, with all of the recommended cuts that we have talked about. This is what it looks like. It gets you to fiscal year 29, so July of 29, but it doesn't really buy you 2 years because you have to get a levy or an earned income tax about a year ahead of that to stay out of this. Also, because if you pass something in calendar year 27, if it's a levy, traditional levy, you can't collect until January of 28. So again, you see the red. Even with all these cuts, we're still in fiscal emergency. We cannot cut our way out of this. We cannot cut our way out of this. I can't say it enough. So, all right, here's our friends at Little Miami. We talked about this the last time. Again, some of the most important things, 105 staff positions were cut. 40% of student athletes left their programs, and enrollment decreased by 1,000. There's a group of kids that are going to graduate this year, a generation of students that did not have art, music, and PE at the elementary school. It's a travesty. And then a levy finally passes, but it's over 13 mills. Over 13 mills when their original levy that they asked for, I think, was about 6 mills. So That is my board report for this evening. And looking for some further discussion from the board if they need it.
With Little Miami as an example, where are they at on funding now?
I believe that within the next year they'll be back on the ballot. Having talked to some of the folks at Little Miami, that there's a chance they'll be back on the ballot in about a year.
Yeah, so just another good example of why the EIT versus a traditional property tax levy, and just the cycle of the 3 to 5 years, even showing itself there that they took that long, the millage went up that high, and still, due to the formulas, just doesn't last.
Yeah, I think one of the big reasons that we've talked extensively about the EIT is this longevity piece. And I think when you look at the charts, just seeing that line going across in the green all the way to 2030, and we were told by our treasurer at the time, Mr. Espy, that was because that was how far the modeling goes out. It could possibly even go further than that. That's just as far as the modeling goes out, and that's dependent on so many things. But that longevity piece means that we're not coming back again. It's very, very atypical that a levy lasts as long as our levy has lasted, and we just cannot sustain that anymore, even with all the cuts that we're talking about making and all the cuts that we've made in the past 2 years.
You sort of mentioned this in the slide, but I think the piece that really hits home to me is the school has not had operating increase since 2013. It has been 11 years that the school has been running on the same funding. Yes, the economy goes up, but the school has to buy gas and electric and food and healthcare. All of that doesn't go away. And so I get frustrated when I hear feedback that's like, well, they should just spend their money better, or I don't know where their money is going. It is going to funding the schools. Nobody can maintain a business with 0 increase for 13 years and expect to maintain the quality and the service that we have, that we deserve, that I would venture guess all came here for. Whether you're a parent or a teacher or a staff, you came to Milford for a reason because of our schools, and they really are the heart of the community. So this is not a spending issue. This is a finance out of Columbus, how schools are funded. The burden is on the taxpayers, which is us.
I think the slide that shows that the best is, I think it was like maybe the 3rd or 4th slide, when you were looking at somebody's specific taxes. Mm-hmm. And you see that 79.75 that was voted on, and we're only getting 30.38 of it. It's impossible to budget with that because of House Bill 920. And also legislation is constantly changing, and we don't know what funding is going to be from the State House because it changes every 2 years. So it's really hard to budget. And then on top of that, budgeting with 2013 financing, I think makes it really, really difficult. I also had another question. If we go, so just for clarification, if we go into fiscal emergency in 2027, that is when the state takes over and tells us exactly what we have to do?
Yes, so there's, I left that slide out, Parker. It's in the last presentation from last month. But yes, there's a commission that comes in. Basically, the commission meets before 6 o'clock, and then they tell you what you need to do. And then, but you vote on it, and you do it, yes.
But you don't really have a choice.
You don't really have a choice, no.
And I think we need to remember, too, that probably 80+% of our funding is for people. We are in the people business, and they are critical to what we do. Without the people, where would our children be? Mm-hmm. I think it's a no-brainer.
And I would mention, we've said it several times, that we decided on the earned income tax after lengthy debate. I know that where I live, there are a lot of elderly people. It's not a nursing home. But they regularly will say to me, I'm being taxed out of my house. I can't afford to stay, and I can't afford to leave. And I've always supported the schools for 50 years, 60 years even. But I'm at the end of that rope. I can't continue to do it. And they have done it for 50 or 60 years, and they deserve the break. And all you young people out there, you will get that break too when you retire, if that was still happening. But it's fair to do it that way. We also debated at length whether it would be a 1% tax or a 1.25. And we decided we had to go with the minimum to get it passed, to get what we need. And we had to go with the minimum, and we would just have to learn to live within that means. So when that goes, adjusts a little from year to year, we have to adjust the budget to meet that.
John, can you talk about reviews that our Treasury Department goes through, or audits, or the state checkbook, just areas where people could, have confidence in that we do have audits, we are reviewed by the state, how public this information is and where things can be reviewed?
Sure, absolutely. So Ohio Checkbook is a place that you can go. And I am not a treasurer, but I did sleep at Holiday Inn yesterday. I'm just kidding. The Ohio Checkbook is one place to go. Alan is hoping that we actually hire a treasurer before the auditors come in, but the auditors come in once a year. You want to talk about that a little bit?
So school districts in the state of Ohio are going to go through an annual audit. And when the auditors come in, they're here for months. And they're looking at our personnel expenses. They're looking at all of our revenues. They're looking at all of anything we cut checks to for vendors. They're making sure we're in compliance. And so we're probably one of the most scrutinized organizations that you're going to meet, because not only do we get audited by the state auditors, we also go through desk reviews, and we have a lot of reporting that we do to the Department of Education. So every dollar is accounted for, every dollar is reported. Any grant monies we get, there's federal review, there's state review, there's monthly reviews, there's quarterly reviews. So everything we do is reviewed. And I know there's a lot of talk right now where forecasts will also be audited and make sure that districts are in compliance. So it's going to be another level of auditing that the district will be going through.
I don't have anything else.
Okay, any more questions, comments? Okay. What else do you have, Mr. Spicer?
The other thing I have is Little Miami fiscal year 27, they're $9 million, excuse me, they only have $2 million cash on hand. So they'll be back on the ballot probably in 26 in order to do so.
Little Miami, if they've got Google updates on how much Little Miami's mentioned by Milford, they're probably blowing up.
Yeah.
One thing real quick that I always bring up is the fact that we do have a policy around how many days of operating cash we have in our general fund. So one thing that might concern people is, okay, you got a 1% earned income tax levy. What happens if our income keeps going up, which I really hope that happens, right? Won't that just mean the school's going to have a big surplus of money? Well, once it exceeds 150 days, there's a policy in place that the treasurer has to bring, that back to the board, and there has to be decisions made that align with the board's goals, but would first be to pay down debt, and then you would decide what's going to happen to that money from there. But it's important to note that those policies exist. One if it gets below 90 days, and one if it gets to 150 or beyond. And I think that's important just as a Milford community member, so that you understand that once it gets to that number, if it were, that would be a dreamland, because that means we're all making a lot of money. But it also means then those decisions be made to pay down existing debt, pay off the loans and things like that we have. So it's just good to know that that's there.
Before we move on from the cuts, I would just like to say I appreciated all the teachers talking tonight. These cuts are painful to think about and to think about enacting. I wish the community could be in the schools like I get to be in the schools. I retired after 40+ years, but now I get to go and help with things and volunteer as a board member. And it's a pleasure. And people that could be in the schools seeing the amazing connections, the amazing things that are going on, you would just be blown away by it. And it's painful to think that we would be to state minimums with so many opportunities and relationships lost.
And my wife sees you out there too much, because she's always like, why aren't you at our kids' school more?
I'm retired.
Myra's got the time.
So I think lastly is if the board is so inclined to take a look at these recommendations and perhaps make a motion.
A motion to all
Should
of these?
should the levy fail, you're going to recommend these cuts.
Right. Yes, so you want me to somebody make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that if the EIT fails, that we make the cuts on the slide shown on slide 10 of going to sister schools, grade banded schools, transportation at state minimum, and pay-to-play increases.
I will second that motion.
Questions, comments?
I know we've discussed this in our committee meetings, but this is just the reality of it, right? So we have to be prepared coming after November 5th that if the levy doesn't pass, that we have this in place.
Yep, okay. Are you ready for a roll call? Call the roll.
Ms. Will?
Yes.
Ms. Powers?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Mason?
Yes.
Mrs. Chestnut?
Yes.
All right, it is time for our middle school update. Mr. Jeff Johnson.
We continue to continue building our middle school. The weather has been wonderful. We lost a couple of days of rain this week, but things are really starting to come together. Here you see a gym truss being lifted into place. That crane is sitting in the main gymnasium of the middle school. And there you can see those gym trusses all in place. They did have approximately 8 of them that were fabricated incorrectly. Those are the new pieces are coming on Monday. They'll install those Wednesday, and then once that's done, you'll start seeing roof deck go down on those roof trusses. They poured, so the stairwells have been going in. This is one that's kind of, basically you're looking from the cafeteria going up to the second floor, your academic wings behind you. One of the stair towers in the academic wing was poured. We've been going up scaffolding stairs for months, and those scaffold stairs will come down, and I'm going to be able to use the permanent stairs to get around. I'm sure the teachers who are going to go on the tour next month will appreciate that. So this is just looking out over, this is from the elective wing, looking out over the cafeteria. The ductwork's going in here in the cafeteria. Ductwork on the ground, getting ready to be put together. They put together, larger 4, 5, 6 pieces of ductwork on the ground, and then they lift it up and install it in place. This is the roof, actually standing on the academic wing. This is like your kitchen areas right behind here, band area. Underneath this area is the cafeteria. So the roof's probably about halfway done in that middle section. The roof is, in the academic wing, we're dried in. They've still got some detailing and blocking and things like that that have to go in, tying it into the wall structure. But we are dried in the academic wing, and we're getting pretty close in the middle section of the building. So this is just an aerial. So obviously you're kind of over the high school or the teacher lot with our academic wing. It's really hard to see. I've tried to take pictures. The brickwork is going in the courtyard. And when you're there kind of staring at it, it looks really cool. But there's so much scaffolding in the place, it's really hard to get a picture for you guys to be able to see it. So again, you can see there's the middle section of the building with the roof. It's a little bit more done. These were taken probably a week and a half ago. Then obviously you can see there's the gym area, the auxiliary gym, that is done at this point in time other than ones that need to be replaced. And then this is just the kind of the same shot, except we're looking southeast of our gym area right here. The middle section, cafeteria, electives, administrative area, the academy, and then our academic wing. We are going to be installing the base course of this road probably within the next 3 weeks or so. We're going to put some temporary sidewalks in. One of the things that really does is help stop tracking of mud and dirt and all that stuff that gets into the building that's really hard to keep clean as we start working more towards getting some finishes in. I think this one's the video, Steve. If you click it, it should go. At least it did it on my computer. All right, I'm not sure why the video's not working. It's just kind of a flyover that goes, so my apologies for that. We have been working with OFCC and Conger for several months, looking to assure that we will have a certificate of occupancy on August 1st. There is something before you later on in the board meeting that will change our substantial completion date because we had some delays in getting our permits. The substantial completion date in the contract is actually into September. We've been tracking pulling that back into August, really almost from the beginning of the project. But I really wanted to push and say, hey, we need to have the plan to get together to August 1st, which initiated the conversations, the negotiations on how we're going to get there. So there is an exhibit. We get some CM contingency back from Conger, turn around and we'll write a change order for the same amount, and the contractual substantial completion date will change to August 1st. So that will, basically, that's when our teachers get into their buildings. Every building, every summer is August 1st. We kind of shut off key cards at the end of school so that our custodial and maintenance crew can do what they need to do and getting everything's clean. So we'll get those teachers in that building on August 1st. Furniture will be there. Their boxes of all their stuff will be there. And then they'll have those couple of weeks before school starts to get kind of unpacked. So things are going well.
Okay, good to hear. Any questions?
No, I think it's awesome.
Okay. Next, I need yes, the MOU with
Yep.
MEA?
Go for it.
Okay. I need a motion to approve the MOU with MEA.
So moved.
Second.
Anyone have questions, comments? Do you want to talk
Yeah,
about this?
so the MOU in front of you is a renegotiations of 5 items. So we had an opener when we extended the contract that each of us could bring 5 language items to the table, so language only. And these are the items that we could come to consensus on.
Great. Can I have a motion? And did I get a motion in a second?
You already did.
Okay, can I call the roll? Yes, we had discussion.
Ms. Will?
Yes.
Ms. Powers?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Mason?
Yes.
Mrs. Chestnut?
Yes. We have some policy 2 information only. These are policy updates to a regulation and an exhibit. Updates that we talked about in the policy committee. And then we also have first reading for policies, a whole bunch as directed by or as guided by OSBA, and some updates that need to happen that came through there. We don't have, we'll talk about those or whatever in the meantime, and we'll come back for a second. We can vote on them next time.
That's correct.
Okay, now we are on to Mr. Unversaw's reports. Can I get a motion to approve the treasurer's reports as attached?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions about the August, or you want to give us an update?
Yeah, thank you. So as we discussed in the Finance Committee, we do have August closed. You have the cash reconciliation file for August for the one that says USAS, that's the checkbook. That's for our normal operations. And then you'll see USPS, that is for payroll. And both we were able to close with a very small adjustment. I think there was a $7 adjustment in the cash rec, and then there's about a $119 adjustment. We're going to leave them there to see if it filters out in the month of September. We're currently working on September. It's been a little trying with some of the turnover we have with staff, but we are plugging along every day and getting things reconciled, adding receipts. So I'm hoping that we'll have September closed out here, hopefully next week, and then we'll be moving on to October. And hopefully by the time we get a treasurer in here, we'll just be a little bit behind, but I think we're keeping up as best we can.
Thank you to your team and the payroll as we engage in a new system as well.
Yes.
I am sure everybody appreciates being paid, but
Yes.
that makes a lot of phone calls.
So when we transition from the old accounting system to the new accounting system, some things did not transition over well. So payroll, we are working right up to the deadline every pay. And so people are getting paid, it's just not showing up at 6 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the morning, showing up like 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock in the morning. So I appreciate everybody's patience with that. With our reports here, we have the cash summary, and that's a listing of all funds. And I do want to, Steve, can you pull up the last one? It says yep, right there. That is our investments. And when somebody sees this, I don't want them to think, oh, they've got $133 million they can just go spend. Most of the Red Tree investments are earmarked for the construction project, all but the $13 million one. And then the $5 million, that 22 BP ARP exempt, that is money that we have to wait until the whole project's over with. That a lot of that may be going back to the federal government for arbitrage. So something we're going to keep our eye on. It's a good thing because we've earned as much interest as we can. And I do have tonight something for us to approve that's going to allow us to put money into account where it should limit or eliminate the arbitrage issues that we have moving forward. Then if you look at the operating account, that is not all general fund monies. There's other monies locked up into there. So those are not dollars that we can just use to operate. So let's make that very clear that these are not just free dollars for us to use however, or everything is earmarked, okay?
Can you just quickly explain arbitrage?
Yeah, so arbitrage is when we receive these, we take out a bond and we invest those monies. If we earn more than a set amount, we have to pay the federal government the amount above. So if we invest monies and we earn about $1 million or $2 million more, at some point we have to write a check to the IRS to cover those. We're just not allowed to earn money since we are a tax-exempt entity more than what a certain rate is. So it's a little confusing, especially when you have to cut a large check, but the good thing is you maximize the interest during the time you had that money.
That's
that
nice
explain
of
it?
us. That's nice that we've done such a good job investing that we'll pay some back.
Yeah. Wish we could keep it. That would be kind of nice.
Yeah, that'd be great.
All right, moving on. Substitute rate approval. This has really already been approved. I just wanted it in the minutes to make it a little clear. We tied the classified substitute rate to step 0, and we read the minutes. It just wasn't clear, but when I talked to the Finance Committee, it's very clear that was the intention. And so my staff had just questioned. I thought, let's just add it for clarity only. Do we want to vote on each one of these, or do we want to combine all these, Emily? Before I jump ahead.
Why don't we go back and vote on?
Yes.
Vote
I
on
jumped
them
ahead.
individually. So we have a motion and a second for board report. So why don't we call the roll to vote on your treasurer's board report?
Okay, ready? Ms. Will?
Yes.
Ms. Powers?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Mason?
Yes.
Mrs. Chestnut?
Yes. And
All
can I get a motion to approve the substitute rates as noted by Mr. Unversah?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions by the board? This is really just to cross Ts, dot Is, make sure that minutes as we go
Just
forward.
wanted to be very clear for
Roll into the
whoever,
next
yeah,
treasurer.
yes.
Yep. Okay, call the roll.
Ms. Will?
Yes.
Ms. Powers?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Mason?
Yes.
Ms. Chestnut?
Yes. Can I get a motion to approve the 2 then and now invoices as listed?
So moved.
Second.
These are invoices that were budgeted and just as a timing with the system.
It's, a lot of it's timing coming from the old system.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, please call the roll.
Ms. Will?
Yes.
Ms. Powers?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Mason?
Yes.
Mrs. Chestnut?
Yes. Can I get a motion to approve a new account with Red Tree to blend down the arbitrage accounting that we've just discussed?
Mhm.
Do you want me to read the whole motion? I will. To keep the interest it earns. Demand deposit SLGs are exempt from both yield restriction and rebate. These are offered to issuers of tax-exempt debt to assist with compliance of yield restrictions and arbitrage rebate provisions of the IRS. The account will be held by U.S. Bank as the custodian on the trust side of the bank. So can I get a motion for that?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions, comments? Okay,
Nope.
call the roll.
Thank you. Ms. Will?
Yes.
Ms. Powers?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Mason?
Yes.
Ms. Chestnut?
Yes. Can I get a motion to approve the 2 contracts with Fidance as listed?
So moved.
Nope, second.
Was that Ms. Powers?
Mason
okay.
and Wilson. Yep. Any questions, comments? Okay, call the roll.
Ms. Will?
Yes.
Ms. Powers?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Mason?
Yes.
Ms. Chestnut?
Yes. Can I get a motion to approve the donation from the class of 1969 in the amount of $153 to the Milford Junior High?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you for the donation. Can I get a roll call, please?
Ms. Will?
Yes.
Ms. Powers?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Mason?
Yes.
Ms. Chestnut?
Yes.
All right.
And finally, Mr. Unver saw some information you were going to share with us about your fiscal office updates.
Exactly. Thank you so much. The first one, FY24 grant final expense reports have been submitted to Department of Education. We talked about the oversight. That is one of the pieces that once we spend our grant, we have to report back to them. And if there's anything that's still owed to us, the Department of Education will send us that money. We'll typically see that maybe early October, typically in November. We received a TIF payment from Union Township for $868,662.47. Doesn't need approval, just want the board to be aware that we received that. A property evaluation agreement that was approved for Parkway Properties. We discussed this at the Finance Committee meeting. Any questions on that? Okay. Books, we talked about the books being closed. September is still open. We're working on getting those closed. So again, we're a little bit behind just because of the turnover we had in the fiscal office, and really appreciate the administration's patience and our employees' patience. I'd love to get to a higher level of customer service with them, but right now we're just in that transition. And then you throw the new software that we transitioned from, it just makes it very difficult for the fiscal staff to stay ahead. But we have light in the tunnel. I see good things coming. So we're treading along and making positive gains right now. Staffing, we do have a payroll position open. We do have interviews scheduled for tomorrow and Monday. So we'll keep you apprised of that.
Great.
And 5-year forecast will be submitted for the November meeting.
Okay.
And John and I worked on that a little bit and been working with our forecast consultant. Really, I'm going to be relying heavily on the past treasurer's notes and information, and already worked through the preliminary numbers, and there's nothing major that would change what's been discussed so far. Not that I'm seeing so far.
Good. Will the forecast, should the levy get approved on November 5th, would that be incorporated into the forecast for
Yeah,
November?
What I'll probably do is have 2 forecasts ready at the Finance Committee to review what it looks like with and one without.
Okay.
And that way we have 2 we'll pick wherever which one we need to at the November meeting. So now we have an early November meeting, correct?
Yes.
Yep.
Yep, we do. Okay. Can I get the human resources, we're going to do consent for all 3 of them. So can I get a motion to approve human resource items 1, 2, and 3?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions, comments? It's too early. We don't have any retirement announcements quite
Not
yet.
yet.
A little early in the year.
Not this
for that.
month.
Next month they'll start. Okay. Any questions? Okay. Call the roll.
Ms. Will?
Yes.
Ms. Powers?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Mason?
Yes.
Ms. Chestnut?
Yes. Curriculum and instruction. Can I get a motion to approve curriculum pay for the individuals listed?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions, comments, curriculum pay? Call the roll.
Ms. Will?
Yes.
Ms. Powers?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Mason?
Yes.
Ms. Chestnut?
Yes. Can I get a motion to approve the JROTC Milford Middle School at the Milford Middle School?
So moved.
Second.
Paul, you want to talk about JROTC a little bit?
Good evening, President Chestnut, members of the board. Happy to speak tonight about adding a new course to the course catalog. The reason why we're asking you to do that early is because, as you know, in order to staff and move all of our sixth graders, fifth and sixth really, into the middle school, we have to start a little earlier. We were approached last year by Great Oaks about adding junior ROTC to the middle school. It is now approved through the program. We will start with eighth graders who will have mentors from their upperclassmen at the high school. It will be the first bell, and this is a benefit of the new building because we will have space. One of the project labs can be used, so we will expand this and we will see how it goes. Start small and report back to you at the end of the year about this new offering through our partnership with Great Oaks. And it's a split funding, so they get half of the bell and we get the other half, 1/6 of the day.
Right, what a cool opportunity. Our ROTC programs are amazing, so that's
They
great.
are.
We can expand it.
Yep.
So current seventh graders would be enrolling for this for the next year. Okay.
I'm going by memory, but I think last spring, 11 Milford seniors got full rides.
Yes,
20
ROTC
through their
scholarships.
ROTC performances. Performance.
Okay, can I have a call the roll?
Ms. Will?
Yes.
Ms. Powers?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Mason?
Yes.
Ms. Chestnut?
Yes. Can I get a motion to approve the revised Aruba E-rate quote?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? Comments? Mr. Johnson, you want to tell us a little bit about this?
These are switches and wireless access points for the new middle school, but by bidding it through the E-rate program, we get a rebate from the federal government, which makes it cheaper than just having the contractor buy them and put them in. So we're buying the equipment, we'll turn it over to them, they'll install it.
Great, good. We like coupons, or rebates, right?
Coupons.
Just like put it on my Kroger card. Can I call the roll, please?
Ms. Will?
Yes.
Ms. Powers?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Mason?
Yes.
Mrs. Chestnut?
Yes. Can I get a motion to approve the schedule of incentives for the Milford Middle School?
So moved.
Second.
This is what I just talked about a little bit earlier, about getting us to August 1st.
Great.
So again, we will get a return of $200,000 for Congress CM contingency. There's certain things in the contract that they're allowed to use that contingency for. We also have our own contingency bucket. So we will get that money back, and then we will issue them a $200,000 change order that moves the substantial completion date to August 1st.
Great, that's awesome.
Jeff, can you just one more time tell everybody, when is it, the original contract date was?
September 26th.
September 26th, and we're ahead of schedule, we're on budget, August 1st.
Amen.
Amen.
I've been preaching August 1 for 6 months.
That's awesome. Thanks to the whole team who's working on that to put that in. Okay, can I have a roll call, please, to approve the schedule of incentives?
Ms. Will?
Yes.
Ms. Powers?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Mason?
Yes.
Ms. Chestnut?
Yes. The next item is public participation. Did we have any?
Missed
We have
one.
transportation and practical.
Transportation, yep.
Is it not on here?
Yeah,
Sorry.
it's on here.
It's not on the digital one, sorry.
It got
Okay.
added late because I just got them from Peterman
yes.
yesterday, so my
Okay.
apologies, we just got them.
I have a motion to approve transportation impractical for the students listed.
So moved. Second.
Call the roll.
Ms. Will?
Yes.
Ms. Powers?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Mason?
Yes.
Mrs. Chestnut?
Yes. Sorry for that. I think I pulled it up this morning, so I still haven't, it didn't refresh. The next item, did we have any green slips turned in before 6 o'clock? Okay. Discussion? Oh, yes, sorry, my old agenda didn't have discussion. Okay, discussion. What?
If I may, two things. One, we did have someone turn in a green slip, but it was after
Okay,
6 o'clock. So if that person is here, they can probably approach me or members of the board if they want to afterwards. Open enrollment is a question that comes up. I did mention it last night at the Facebook Live event that we did. Currently, the question is, we should just get rid of open enrollment. Well, we can't, and here's why. If we were to entirely eliminate open enrollment at this time, the district would lose approximately $900,000. That is part of our guarantee, so that's the problem. We have 111 students that come in, and we have about 130 that go out. So 130 residents open enroll out, 111 open enroll in, and the students that we take in, we use what we call an airplane model. We fill seats and that's it. We don't go above and beyond. We don't sell more seats than what we can hold because we don't want to hire additional staff in order to do so. And there's also board policy about the limits of open enrollment as well. But we've also started to, kindergarten last year, we did not take any open enrollment kindergarten students. So I just wanted to mention the open enrollment piece. That's it for me. Thank you.
Fellow board members, any additional comments? A lot of great stuff going on in the district.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would like to do a personal comment. Today is my 21st wedding anniversary, and I think if you had asked me 21 years ago what I would be doing to celebrate, I'm not sure I would have said Board of Education, but I'm happy to serve and glad it's brought me here, so. Congrats, Brian. Do 21
Happy
more years.
anniversary.
Thank you, thank you.
And he's not here?
He did not join us. No, he's carpooling
what's
kids'
with that?
activities. There's kids that still need activities, yeah. So, the next regularly scheduled board meeting is November 7th, 2024 at 6 p.m. here in this room, 1099 State Route 131, Milford, Ohio 45150. Note that it is the first Thursday of the month because we will be celebrating Veterans Day. So that's typically, we move November up 1 week early. Additionally, we have a special board meeting scheduled for Wednesday, October 23rd, 2024, here in the administrative office, 1099 State Route 131, Milford, Ohio 45150, a start time of 4:30. And can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll.
Ms. Will?
Yes.
Ms. Powers?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Mason?
Yes.
Ms. Chestnut?
Yes.